Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Morgan Podcasting Network. Welcome to another edition of Balls and Brew, the sports podcast here on the network. We call it that because we discuss sports that have balls, and we do it in a manner that you might when you're sitting around with your friends having a couple brews. Joining me, as always, to help me do that very thing is my crew of trio. I guess it's not really a crew, it's a trio. You need to have more people for a crew than just three. But we are actually minus a man tonight. We only have three of us. So we are a trio tonight. Normally I have a trio making us a quad. I'm losing the thread here. Let me introduce my guy, Chris King. I'm rambling like the old man that he is.
Yeah, you're not wrong though. We are missing Jimmy tonight, but don't be afraid. Jimmy's fingerprints are still all over this pod, just like every other pod on this network. Even though he's not here physically, he is definitely here in spirit, bringing this pod to the masses, all six of them. And it was a good weekend for me in the NFL too, Rod.
Was
Cowboys
it?
won, the Colts won, the Lions won, and finally the Cincinnati Bengals won.
Finally, the Bengals have got back in the win column. Excited for our guy, Lou. Big Lou there, the defensive coordinator. Big W for him. So go, Bengals, go. Joining us to give intelligent football analysis, numbers based football analysis, is our handicapper who is on a hot streak, 2 straight 2-1 weeks, climbing up there to higher percentages of wins, making money for you. He's our guy, Josh Williams. Hello.
What's up, boys? It was good to get two easy wins last week. That normally does not happen in the NFL. I've been on the other end of two easy losses right off the bat. So yeah, it was good to get Tampa. They demolished Philly. Rod, you were on to that fraud of a coach early on. Props to you. We'll see if Philly can get that turned around. And then the Ravens. Everyone thought that Buffalo was the best team in the world, and I said, slow your roll there. The Ravens got something for them. Ravens, just demolished Buffalo on Sunday Night Football. Lost on Seattle. Kind of unfortunate with DK with that fumble. He's trying to get like one more yard and he fumbles. And otherwise, I'm not sure either defense stops the offenses. Man, what a treat that was on Monday night to get to watch Ben Johnson and Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator from Seattle, the former offensive coordinator for the Washington Huskies, who went to the national championship game last year. Man, those two guys put on a clinic on Monday Night Football. So even though I lost that game against the spread, that was still a joy to watch.
See, this is why he's our handicapper, because he loves football at its heart. He doesn't mind that he's taking a bath. He's enjoying the game for what it is. You got to love that out of our guy. You know, something that Jimmy would do if he was here? He would update the wins league total. And Williams, again, because you are the numbers champion, I'm told that you have those. So I don't think we've done that the last couple of weeks. So let's give the people an update here through 4 weeks.
Yes, I'm starting to worry. I am starting to worry. This was the first week I did not get 5 wins. I only got 4, and it was because of that horrible Miami Dolphins team right now without
Ooh,
Tua killing me. I have 19 wins. Rod, you're in second with 17. You had your first 5-win week last week.
let's
Jimmy
go.
had Jimmy had his first 5-win week last week. He's in third with 16. Chris had a poor week last week. Only had 2 wins. He's at 12 right now. But this week, you know what the most important game on the schedule this week for the Wins League? It's none other than the Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots. Rod, I gave you I handed that over to Jimmy to give to you, the Patriots. And wouldn't it be fitting for that to blow up in my face this week? That is a huge game. Miami at New England for no other reason to watch that game. You have no other reason to watch that game other than the Wins League,
I'll be
Miami and New
tuning in.
England this week.
I'll
You're
be
gonna be
tuning in.
rooting for New England, Rod. Is that what you're gonna be doing?
I didn't say I would be rooting. I said I would be
Nah.
tuning in with the genuine interest into the outcome of said ball game. I like Jacoby Brissett. He's a gentleman. I enjoyed his time in Indianapolis, right? So, I want to see Drake May if he gets in there, right? I want to see the rookies. Jaden Daniels is lighting it up, which I was right on, by the way. Listen, I'm just going to
You
go
are
ahead and pat myself on the back here, all right? I write myself off as the fun-loving, jovial host here who's just making references to Tom Cruise movies and pulling out old sitcom references that nobody understands and making up stupid songs. Sure, I do all that stuff because people like to be entertained. But I told this podcast for years, don't sleep on Baker Mayfield. look where he's at right now. All right. I told everyone on this podcast that the Eagles were in trouble and there was too much strife for the talent to win out on the field, and what's happening with the Philadelphia Eagles right now. And I told you that Anthony Richardson was going to be an absolute roller coaster, and I was not going to worry about the Colts. And they have played putrid football at numerous times this year, and I have not complained about them once on this podcast. I am learning, I'm growing, and perhaps I should start looking at numbers, and maybe I could challenge our guy Josh Williams. Chris, how crazy is what I just said?
I mean, if there's one thing that I can't say I've seen you do much of is ever pat yourself on the back on any of the podcasts, whether it's Yeah We Know, the NBA Fast Break, the Balls and Brew, or just the Morgan You Know. You never pat yourself on the back or tell everybody that you're right or any of that. No, never happens.
Hey, listen, always winning, right? Always winning, never admit defeat. We talked about this on the recent podcast. I'm adopting the philosophy. It seems to be working for certain people. Mr. Williams, what do you got?
Yeah, so far I was dead wrong on Jaden Daniels. I will say so
Another one I
far
had. I didn't say it on this podcast, but Williams has the receipts. I was on this.
so far I was dead wrong on Jaden. I do think that there is a downturn coming for him
Stop.
because he can't play this good.
He's all
But
listen, Williams, that's all my fantasy team is. Literally, my
Yeah.
entire fantasy team right now is Jaden Daniels.
I
Stop
will
it.
say that so far I was dead right on being down on Trevor Lawrence. But so far that could change also. And I am so
Not
pissed
this
at
week. Not this week. Look at you. Look at you trying to back up your Colts talk. Wait, we haven't gotten there yet.
I'm so pissed at myself because I gave out on the pod like I was so pro Jets, but then I should have went anti Jacksonville because when I projected out these records, I had Jacksonville as tied for the second worst record. I know some people had Jacksonville around 8 or 9 wins. I had them 4-13. I should have had them as the last team to win a game. That was 33-1. I'm so pissed at myself for not giving that out. It was right in front of me, man. Right in front of me. If the Patriots could sneak a win, which they did against the Bengals, and the Bengals always start off slow, I thought Jacksonville's schedule the first 6 weeks was absolutely brutal. And
So far.
I missed out on that one. Shame
So
on me.
far. That's all right. Listen, you can't get them all right. You know what I mean? You can't get them all right. But let's check in with our two favorite teams, the Indianapolis Colts and the Chicago Bears. As I said, Colts, that was a game. All right. That was a game. Like they basically were a terrible football team for the entire second half of that game, but they were a pretty good football team for the first quarter and a part of the second quarter, Chris, and that was just enough to win. The defense kind of showed up. Gus Bradley wasn't the reason we lost that game.
Yeah, no, Pittsburgh could not run the ball against the Colts. All right. I get to say that with
Yeah.
all sincerity. All right. Najee Harris couldn't get the ball rolling. All right. So they had no run game. You got to be happy when your backup is a guy like Joe Flacco, who has spent almost an entire career playing against a team like Pittsburgh. So if you got Pittsburgh, you need a backup. You want Joe Flacco to be that guy. I think that helped us, but it did hurt our run game, Rod, because without AR back there, teams can really load the box up against just JT.
Yeah, they were still trying to run some of those zone reads, right? Where basically you've got to make the linebacker think that the quarterback might run. And the linebacker's like, wait a minute, that's Joe Flacco. He's not running. So, yeah, no, that stuff's got to be cleaned up a little bit there. Williams, what do you think about Richardson? Maybe, let's not run him immediately after he just comes back in the game after going out a little gimpy. Like, I wondered about that. And it just bums me out that this guy who hasn't played a lot of football is so raw, but has this incredible athletic skill. Like he just keeps getting hurt and can't get the reps in, Williams. It's just, I think it's maybe a little bit of what was baked into your trepidation about not flying as high with AR as we did.
Yeah, that wasn't the smartest play call by Steichen, and I'm a pretty big Steichen fan. Yeah, it is. It's frustrating because Anthony Richardson is so fun to watch, and I just hope that he can stay healthy. I don't know. He's built to take hits. I mean, he looks like he's Jim Brown out there running the ball, and but man, I don't know. The more hits he takes, it's just it's probably not good. I thought he could get away with it maybe his first couple of years because he's so chiseledly built. He's so athletic, man. I just hope that he can stay healthy this year because it would be a fun season for the Colts.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Texans, Chris, are not necessarily running away with this thing like everybody promised us that they would. So I mean, our Colts are still we're right there, right? We could be
Yeah.
fighting for a wild card spot no matter what happens.
No, right now it's between us and Houston, right? We just have to keep up with them, and we're right in there because Tennessee does not look good. We see the lowlights of Will Levis every week, and Jacksonville is winless, and they're winless going in this week, Williams. And I can't believe this didn't make your list of picks this week. All right, Jacksonville hasn't won a game. The Colts are coming in with a the only non-negative point differential in their division. I don't know how you don't see this as an opportunity to take the upset because the Jags are 3-point favorites in this game. Do you really think they can cover that?
Yeah, I think the market's about right. I think you've seen some action on Jacksonville when it's at 2.5, and then you've seen some action on the Colts when it's at 3. So the market has pretty much settled right there at 2.5 or 3. Um, yeah, it's just this this is a game where Jacksonville has to have it. They have to have it, and that doesn't mean that they're going to get it. But if you don't believe me, just believe. I mean, just the market. The market says that they have to have it, and the Colts
What
are really banged up right
You,
now.
if
Jags may have
Really
nothing
banged
quit on
up.
their
else,
coach. What about that? Does the market factor that in that they quit on Doug Peterson and that team doesn't care? Have they factored that in?
or they have no
I,
defense, and even if we get Joe Flacco starting in this game, he's a guy that's a veteran that can tear up a secondary that's non-existent like it is in Jacksonville.
Wait a minute. You don't want to be recorded saying Joe Flacco tore anything up, all right? Because I'm not necessarily sure he can do that anymore, but he can just sort of guide the ship and make sure you don't hit an iceberg. I think that's
You're
all we're
talking
looking
about
for out of
you're
Joe.
talking about a former MVP, Rod.
He's like 39 years old and he was out of the league for a couple years. We're not talking about Tom Brady at 39, right? We're talking about a guy who was out of the league for a couple years at 39, right? It's a little different ball game here with old Joey Flacco. Let's calm down there, all right? Because again, I'm not going to get mad at the Colts. I think they're going to be fine. Let's turn away from this bad quarterback play and this bad play of Trevor Lawrence, and let's go up to Williams' favorite team, all right? The one time we get to see Josh Williams more as a football fan, a diehard fan of one team. His quarterback finally looked like the number one pick. Williams, you had to be excited with that performance out of your guy last week.
yeah, I think he's incrementally getting better. He only had 6 incompletions last week. A couple of the road games where he's averaged over 8 yards rushing, actually, and the passer rating has increased the last 3 games. So yeah, I think it's just slow and steady. Again, you don't love the offensive coordinator, especially when you compare that to what the offensive coordinator in Seattle, what he's doing, and you see Waldron coming from Seattle, and you're like, that Seattle team did not look anything like that last year. And so, I mean, Caleb's kind of playing behind the 8 ball here with the play calling. So, and I don't know what's up with DJ Moore, man. DJ Moore has had terrible pouty. He's just not happy, and that's not DJ. That's not the DJ Moore that we have seen in the NFL
They're
the
not
last 5 or
sending
6
him.
years.
They're not sending him downfield. They're keeping him on these short crossing routes, and he wants to go deep.
Yeah, it's a real bad look from a wide receiver who just got a ton of money and you won the game.
You
And
have a
so
quarterback that
if
can't throw
you
the ball more than 20 yards, though, Williams. He has only attempted 6 such passes this year. You're not
Uh-oh.
taking shots downfield, so you're not going to
he,
make DJ Moore happy.
he can throw it down the field. I would say the offensive line is not giving him time to, and the offensive coordinator is not scheming up those plays. I'm not saying DJ Moore can be mad at the offensive coordinator. I'm just saying don't do it on the field. It's just a bad look right now with DJ
He's the
Moore.
only wide receiver I got. I think it's the curse of my fantasy team, right? Because thinking AJ Brown went down, right? Puka Nakua went down the first week, and so I was left with
Brutal.
just DJ Moore, and he's killing me.
I
I
got
got Wandale
Devontae.
Robinson.
I got Devontae Adams in a league. I know how you feel.
I mean,
I've got,
I'm going down to
yeah.
Wandale Robinson. I mean, I'm stretching here.
My top 4 wide receivers are out this week. So yeah, we're all in the wide receiver hospital.
Oh, it is. Listen, there's something else though that has me even more angry than I'm going to get to at the end of the podcast before we close up shop here. But let's move on to the reason you're here, the reason you're making money the last 2 weeks. He's hot. He's 2-1. We're looking for 3-0 this week. Williams, I feel it. 3-0. Chris, I think, is angry and wants to give you more smoke, and we're excited for that. But I'm feeling 3-0. So let's see. Williams, I'll let you pick it. Right to start the good mojo. I'll let you pick the game you want to talk about first. I never do that for you.
Yeah, we usually go chronological order, so I'll stick with that. The 4:05 game, Denver and Vegas. Let's go with our first under on the year, under 36 on MGM or Caesars. This game played to a 33 total
Oh wait, the
last.
entire game? You're not doing one of your quarter or half unders? This is the whole game?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that later on. I know you love that. Yeah, this game played to a 33 total last year in Denver. The year before that, they played to 32 in regulation. And the Raiders D has held 3 out of their last 4 opponents to under 23 points, surprisingly. But in their only home game this year, the Broncos held the Steelers to 13 points. This Broncos D has just given up 13, 7, and 9 in their last 3 games. Surprisingly, pretty good Denver defense. You've got no Devontae Adams. You've got a Raiders team who wants to run the ball. They want to chew up the clock with Antonio Pierce at head coach. Then on the other side of the ball, you've got Sean Payton who wants to put his quarterback in the best possible situations, a lot of short passes for Knicks with a high completion percentage. Why is that important? Because that high completion percentage means a better chance for that clock to tick, 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 tick. I do believe Denver has an edge here, but I didn't want to lay 2.5 with a rookie quarterback. And
Who threw for
believe
60 yards last week, right?
who
I mean,
who
again, this is another reason you're going for the under. This guy threw for 60 yards. The game finished 4 quarters of an NFL football game, and Bo Nix had 60 yards passing.
60 yards passing, and believe it or not,
The one receiver had 60 yards receiving, but he completed passes to 6 other guys too.
Oh, that's just
Make that math work.
it's crazy. And believe it or not, another reason why I didn't want to take Denver here, the Raiders have won 8 straight in this series.
They haven't lost since they moved to Vegas.
Yeah, that's wild. So you've got another early year sort of elevation game too, where the bodies could be getting adjusted. So yeah, let's go Denver and the Raiders under 36.
So basically, then what you're saying is there is absolutely zero reason anybody should be watching this football game if we're getting an under 36 total. You're just saying that this is going to be another like 10-9 Jets, Broncos, just ugly fest. Nobody tune in.
I would love for it to be 10-9.
Yeah. Gardner, my guy. I really kind of wish you would have just decided to stay in Indy as a backup, my dude. You'd be all right for us right now, and it'd just be a better situation than what you're doing out there in Las Vegas. But you still look absolutely resplendent, my dude. Never change. All right, Williams. Then, if we're going chronological, I guess that means we're moving on to the Green Bay Packers, and possibly borrowing a term from my guy Bill Simmons here.
I gotta just step in here and
and before I could even say what game we're doing.
So like I was gonna have a bone to pick with Williams on this Raiders Broncos game.
I guess I didn't ask you for your thoughts, Chris. I apologize.
But it's all right though, Rod, because like the crazy straight man he is, he pulled a B rabbit on me and took everything that I was gonna bring up and wiped it out by taking the under first off. So I thought for sure he's like, I'm gonna probably be chalk on this. So I thought he was taking Denver. I'm like, wait a minute, Raiders haven't lost since they moved to Vegas. You got this Bo Nix kid who can't throw to anybody. So like
that was my bad. In his defense, he didn't take Bo Nix from you. I did.
They took all, but it was really him taking the under. Not picking a real winner, not using the spread. I'm gonna take the under because this game's horrible.
He
Easy
did
money.
tease us though.
Yeah, he did tease us, but I think you gotta, if you're gonna bet on a winner, you gotta go Raiders.
I agree with you, but he did tease us that at some point I'm going to be angry because he's going to pick a quarter or a half under or over. So now you're in anticipation. Will it be this game, the Green Bay Packers versus, to borrow a term from my guy Bill Simmons, the possible team from hell situation, meaning injuries that just keep mounting up, but yet somehow the Rams keep playing competitive games? Shout out to Matt Stafford and Sean McVay. What do you got for us here, Williams?
I know you hate these when I do these, but
what's this game?
Let me tell you why. I've got all kinds of stats for this. Let me take the Packers minus 1.5 in the first half on DK. That's minus 112. And you got to go on DK to get this because on the other websites, it's minus 2.5 from what I saw. Okay. Week 1, the Rams. These are
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me just make sure I have this correct. You're now making a play that is only available on one sports book, one particular sports book. So now you're making like all of these things that have to happen.
He's
minus 1.5, and it has to be played
his potential on this one, right?
Are you
really? This
Are
is
you just
really.
now realizing how I give out the specific sports books on like the
I
best
guess I never
lines?
caught that before. I guess I never caught that before.
Yeah, I always whatever the best line is, that's what I try to give out.
All right. Well, listen, you already had me incensed because I knew you were only picking a half. And then it wasn't even an under or over. It was just minus a point and a half. So, I mean, it could be 42 to 40. You don't care. It could be 18 to 15. You don't care. I mean, just this is ridiculous. Continue.
At the half this year, Rams, week 1, down by 7 to Detroit. Week 2, Rams, down by 21 to Zona. Rams, week 3, down by 7 to the Niners. Rams, week 4, down by 4 to the Bears. Now let's go over to the Packers. Week 1 versus Philly, up by 2 at the half. Week 2 versus the Colts, up by 10 at the half. Week 3 against the Titans, up by 13 at the half. Now you get to last week. Green Bay was punched right in the mouth by the Vikings. They were down by 21 at the half. And if you saw Matt LaFleur on the sidelines, it looked like someone just stole his favorite Tonka truck when he was a kid, stomping and jumping up and down, flailing his arms. When evidently he hadn't had his nap yet for that.
So you think Matt LaFleur is a Tonka guy? You don't think he's like a Hot Wheels or a GI Joe guy? You think it was Tonka that was
Could
really
be.
what got his engines fired when he was a little dude?
I was thinking maybe G.I. Joe. Yeah, that fits. But he gets quite fussy.
Maybe like electric football, right? Like maybe like electric football because the guy ended up being I don't know. It's probably even before his time. So he's probably big on like what was it? The Nintendo game. Why can't I think of the Nintendo game, the first Nintendo and football game.
Tecmo.
There you go. Yeah, Tecmo. I couldn't pull Tecmo. See,
The electric football was well before Tecmo Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. And I was trying to figure out how old this particular cat was, and then I was like, "No, nope, electric football is probably a little old because I'm old at this point." So,
yeah, he was quite upset last week. Is basically my point. So I don't think he loves trailing at the half too much. You've got an extremely banged up Rams team. No Puka, no Cup. You're banged up on the defensive end. I think the Packers want to get out to an early lead in this game. I think if they win the coin toss, I think they take the ball. Matt LaFleur has been fantastic. All the joking aside, has been fantastic in scripting.
no, wait, well, you know what? What if LaFleur what if he was like a Play-Doh guy, right? Or like a Lincoln Logs or like an erector set kind of dude, like he like building stuff, right? Like maybe Legos. He could have been into that, right? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, He-Man. Come on, Chris, help me out. What other toy could Matt LaFleur been mad about getting taken from him?
You guys have lost me.
This is what the people come for. This is what I do.
Williams
is giving out minus 1.5 off a DK in the first half, and that's not bringing something.
You know how old I am, all right? It was a stick and a wheel.
Here we go.
I knew that would get Rod going. The Tonka trucks.
Stick ball. I couldn't get off of that. I didn't even hear anything you said after the thing of the Tonka trucks. I hope it was great knowledge out of you because it normally is.
Pack minus 1.5 first half.
There we go. And the Rams are injured, but we love the Rams. Something about the Rams is plucky. You know who else is plucky? Well, at least they're plucky to Chris. They're his favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. And in honor of Jimmy not being here, I want to say something about this next team, the Steelers. All right. Justin Fields. All right. You may have lost that game to the Colts, but honestly, my friend, that was maybe as good as you've looked at quarterback in that game. Maybe quite possibly putting it together. And I know Jimmy would be quite excited about Fields' performance last week. So I'm going to get that in for Jim. Williams, the floor is now yours. And then we'll go to Cowboys fan number 1.
Yeah, Chris isn't going to like this. I'm taking the Steelers minus 1.5 for the whole game, minus 115 on FanDuel. Rod, everywhere else, this line has moved to 2.5. So that means that we know what that means, Rod? Sharp money is coming in on the Steelers. If you go on FanDuel right now, you can get them at minus 1.5.
I love when Williams gets spicy with me. Spicy Williams with me is the best.
Listen, man, I think even Chris agrees that it can't be overstated. No Micah Parsons, no DeMarcus Lawrence. The Cowboys are 31st in run defense. That Dallas offensive line is underachieving. There's going to be more dropbacks for Dallas because they can't run the ball. A ton of dropbacks means what? It means TJ Watt getting sacks. The Steelers have faced the toughest schedule of opposing run defenses this year. They faced the second toughest schedule of passing defenses. Now you're facing a Dallas team without its 3 best pass rushers and possibly multiple starters out in the secondary. And oh man, Chris, we have more ref stats, and I don't think you're going to like them. They're not in favor of the Cowboys. Sean Hockley is calling this game.
Ooh.
Dallas leads the league in road penalties. They're even tied for first in special teams penalties. They have the second most false starts and offensive holding penalties. Conversely, guess who has the least amount of home penalties this season? Yes, you guessed it. It's the black and gold of the Steelers. And more importantly, Chris, not to bring up old crap that you probably don't want to listen to, but the Cowboys have a history with Sean Hockley.
That's all he listens to. What are you talking about?
Jarrah Jones, back in 2021, after the Thanksgiving loss to the Raiders, Jarrah publicly criticized Hockley's crew after he called, wait for it, 14 penalties for 166 yards on the Cowboys in that game. Good Lord.
Yeah, should have been an investigation.
That is insane. Shocker.
No.
It's shocker that Dallas is under 500 against the spread when Hockley's crew refs the games. Meanwhile, get this, the Steelers are 5-2 against the spread. I knew Chris would love the fixed aspect of this. The Steelers are 5-2 against the spread when he does their games, but he has never refed a game in the city of Pittsburgh before. But get this, home teams this year in Hockley's games are 3-0 against the spread. You know, Tomlin will have his guys ready to go after a loss. This isn't 100% Tomlin rah-rah spot, but it's like 25% Tomlin rah-rah spot because it's coming off a home loss. They're just not dogs here. Give me the Steelers minus 1.5 on Sunday Night Football.
How about them Cowboys? Chris, your retort.
The only thing that the Cowboys have to worry about in the Pittsburgh run game is literally Cordell Patterson, all right? And you keep giving him the ball like they did against the Colts, he's going to get hurt again. That guy's not young anymore. All right. I ain't scared of Najee Harris or the offensive line that Pittsburgh has. So it doesn't really matter who's playing on our defense. We'll be okay because Justin Fields does not scare me. It was not Justin Fields who got the Steelers back in that game. It was Patterson. Let's be real here, folks. All right. And we saw
Patterson didn't even play in the fourth quarter. They scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. What are you talking about?
Trust me, it was Patterson. All right. His spirit was still there, Rod.
His spirit, okay.
All right. And see, that just shows you how fragile he is. So I'm not worried about that run game. I'm not worried about Justin Fields. All right. He's played good once, twice in 2.5 years.
3 times, maybe.
Yeah. Go Cowboys. And listen, Hockley should be under investigation with some stats like that, all right?
Here we go.
Because, and I know it's going to be the same this week, even if he hasn't ever refed in Pittsburgh, all right? This is a drinking town with a football problem. The Yinzers there know what I'm talking about. He can't call this fairly and expect to get out of Pittsburgh alive. I know those people there. I know how they act.
Oh my goodness, Mr. Williams, I know you don't tune into our wrestling show because you're not the rabid wrestling fan that we are, but Chris has called for so many investigations on that show that I can't even keep track. I just hope that we don't start heading down this path here. And Chris, I had to throw in the Commodores joke there because I'm pretty sure if we had like a tally going, Williams is trying to out joke me this episode, and I'm not happy about it. So I gotta come firing with a bunch of jokes here at the end.
What?
See, there he goes again.
One thing in Chris's favor, if the Cowboys can get to 20 points, I don't know if Chris thinks that they can or not on that defense. If they can get to 20 points, Justin Fields has never won a game when the opposing team has scored 20 points.
Look out. See, the Field slander continues. Jimmy, I tried, Jimmy.
Rico is hitting his stride in the running game, all right? We're not worried about Zeke or Ezekiel or whatever. Rico is hitting his stride. Dallas has weapons that they can exploit, all right? So I think we can easily get to 20 points.
You can't run the ball in this. Like if the Cowboys if they're going to compete in this game, it's going to have to be Dak and CD.
It's not going to be Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, I don't think they can run on the Steelers defense.
Be a lot cooler if his name was Rico Razor.
You are a true unbeliever, aren't you?
I mean, the Cowboys don't scare me, Chris. You said a lot of things don't scare you. The Cowboys don't scare me. I just think that like there's just like this weird cloud that hangs over the Cowboys, and I think you know what it is. It's their owner. We are now all of that age that we see how important ownership is of professional sports franchises, and Jerry Jones just hurts your Cowboys. And I appreciate that you're staying even keel and positive and you told all of our listeners that you're going to be a fan this year, and I joined you in that mission, other than when I'm going to be angry here in just a few minutes, and other than when I get angry at Williams for trying to out-joke me on the podcast, but other than that, I'm being even keel this year, Chris, and I commend you for staying true to that.
Listen,
Sure.
there couldn't be nothing more exciting to me than watching Pittsburgh lose twice in a row to the Colts and the Cowboys. Let's make it happen.
That's true. Chris will be in pure Al Bundy pose at the end of that football game if that's how it ends up happening there. Williams, I'm going to have you say if you need to clean up anything here. We did not get a circle back from you this episode, so I don't know if you need to get something cleaned up here because I'm fixing to do a little Rod Nation here on our way out.
Nothing. I'll just go with a small futures market watch.
Nice futures market watch.
I told you I bet this guy before the season, and I probably should have gave it out then because he was 12-1. I still think there's value on Mike McDonald. You can get it plus 650 on MGM. I know it's not the greatest long shot here, but man, if you're a Seahawks fan, you have to be super enthused about Ryan Grubb as the offensive coordinator. And I know that Seattle defense gave up a ton of points, but they were without, count them, 5, maybe 6 defensive starters. And once that team gets healthy, like I thought that was a team that I was going to take next year to possibly make a deep, deep run. I think they can do it this year, man. They have get this, they have the net rest advantage on both the
Hell yeah, we got it in. Ref stats and net rest advantage. Let's go.
Both the Niners games this year, they have the net rest advantage. The Niners have to travel on short rest on a Thursday night when they go to Seattle, and then when they play in San Francisco, Seattle is coming off a bye. So, and they get the Packers and the Vikings at home this year. They get the Bills at home. Seattle can make a run here. This defense is going to improve, and this offense is outstanding. I think if you're one of the million listeners to the podcast and you're in a super flex league, go out and try and trade for Geno Smith. This Ryan Grubb is one of the best young offensive coordinators in the game. Geno's going to be slinging around, even behind that makeshift offensive line. I think the Seahawks are for real. I was super impressed with them in the loss on Monday night.
I like the Seahawks as well. At the beginning of the year, you and I both talked their praises up a little bit. It was tough for you to go full bore on the Seahawks because of your Kyle Shanahan relationship, right? You know what I mean? That would be considered stepping out on your significant other, so I understand. But you did tell the people that you liked what McDonald was bringing to the table and that you thought Seattle had a good base of talent. So nice to see them there. I will now shift to Rod Nation. It is something that I have done on the NBA Fast Break over the years, and it's a nice ring to it, right? My name fits nicely in there with condemnation, Rod Nation. And I have to give props at the start of Rod Nation here to our guy, Chris King, because a few weeks back, he called me out for something. I came on here and I talked down the Manning cast, which I still absolutely 100% believe in, but I framed it against praising Tom Brady because he was actually out there doing the work. And Chris said, Rod, this is garbage. You hate Tom Brady. I can't believe you're on here saying something like that. And I defended the take. But Chris ultimately was right that I did hate Tom Brady, right? The take I say is still valid, but I hated Tom Brady. And I got more evidence this week as to why. Because here's Baker Mayfield actually playing in the National Football League, actually quarterbacking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And here's Tom Brady up in the booth, just doing nothing, just talking, saying absolutely nothing, sounding terrible as a $250 million color commentator. And Baker Mayfield says something as innocuous as, well, you know, it's just a little bit easier around here. Just a little bit easier around here since Tom Brady's gone. And he friggin' flips his lid. Goes off on Baker and talks about, well, I didn't think we were going to Disneyland. I didn't come down here for fun. You know what, Tom? Relax, bro. Relax. All right? Nobody says you don't have to prepare. Nobody says you can't be on top of everything, but you don't have to be a dick while doing it. And I think that's all their point was here, Tom. All right? You can be a taskmaster and you can go over a lot of things. You know who's somebody that did that, actually? I'm going to give my guy who I just trashed at the beginning of this a little bit of love, Peyton. Peyton was a taskmaster and wanted to make sure everybody went over everything, but he had a gentler way of going about it at times. So you didn't hear as many teammates saying they hated their time with him as you hear about old Tommy boy. And, oh, Tommy, are you maybe getting mad at somebody because you're sick of all the jabs that are coming at you for being a terrible color commentator? So you're lashing out at somebody else? Ridiculous, Tom. Go back to eating avocados. Stay away from my guy Baker.
Goodbye, Internet.